Have you ever wondered how businesses and nonprofits can work together to create real, tangible impact in their communities? Welcome to the Manufacturing Connector, where we explore innovative solutions transforming the future of industries and communities alike. I'm your host, Jim Mayer, and today's episode is a little bit different. We're diving into the world of social enterprise with Helplink. Joining us are Abby McKiernan and Dan Mastromonaco, representing Helplink, a tech-enabled platform designed to meet individual basic needs by connecting businesses, employees, and nonprofits. Helplink helps companies engage their workforce and communities through automated corporate giving, while nonprofits gain a powerful tool to help deliver essential goods and services. In today's episode, we'll explore how Helplink is revolutionizing corporate giving and how it's providing a lifeline for nonprofits and individuals. You'll learn how Helplink is removing barriers to work, reducing employee turnover, and delivering real goods to those in need. Let's dive into how businesses can create meaningful impact in their communities while fostering a culture of giving. Hello, Abby and Dan. Welcome to the Manufacturing Connector. How are you both doing today?
Oh, hi, Jim. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks, Jim.
Absolutely. You're welcome, guys. Glad to have you on the show. Abby, as always, I love having conversations with you. You're just a wonderful human being. So we're going to start today off, as I do in every single one of my shows. I want to hear your guys' stories. Abby, tell us the story of Abby. How'd you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a two-time founder, if you will. My first company is actually a nonprofit organization called Spark in the Dark, where we are a peer-to-peer resource sharing group that connects those in need with those that can help. Very similar concept to knocking on your neighbor's door for a cup of sugar, just on the internet. So I started that. It spread very quickly throughout Michigan. I'm very proud to say we've got 30,000 members. I have been a part of connecting over 100,000 needs since 2017 to, everything from diapers for somebody's baby to work boots for their new job. It's been very, very gratifying. It's pretty cool that I get to be a professional helper. And since then, actually, Dan and I have teamed up to create Helplink, which is the newest company that is kind of getting companies in on the mix of helping communities and proactively, removing barriers to work for their staff so that the people that want to show up to work can show up to work.
Cool. Awesome. Dan, what about you? Tell us your story.
Thanks, Chip. So I have been a software entrepreneur for the past dozen years or so. All systems that I've mostly designed and developed myself. The MO has been usually to build them, get them started, get them running, get them profitable, and then a few years later, kind of offload them and kind of keep it rolling, move on to something else. Helplink is the first thing that I've started where I've thought to myself, maybe I can be part of this long term because it's been more of a passion project of mine. Before I met Abby, I actually started it as its own nonprofit. And when we met, I was trying to get Spark in the Dark involved to partner with. And, she was like, hey, I've actually been trying to do like this exact same thing. And we realized there was so much overlap in what we were doing that we just decided to team up and move forward from there. So it was a pretty good match, and we're excited to talk about it today.
Again, consistently persistent, right?
I was going to say, we've turned competitors into friendships. That's perfect. It's the best way to do business.
I love that. So, Abby, you're the storyteller of the duo. We'll get to the tech side with Dan here in a moment. Tell us about this journey that Helplink's been on. What problems do you solve? I mean, I gave it briefly in the intro, but tell us more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal for Helplink has kind of evolved since we began. It started out as the goal of just, meeting needs and community connecting to community. But as we started building it, we started realizing that there was more and more opportunity for companies to really get involved, which for me started actually at a party I was hosting where I had a friend who is the owner of a company. And he had a lot to say one day about an employee who did not show up to work. Something to the effect of everybody is lazy and nobody wants to work. Never heard that before, right?
Never.
Not even an original statement.
Right?
So on and on he went. Turns out I knew who his employee was, and they had been on my nonprofit group asking for help the week previous because they had had a car issue. And with that came trying to get rides to work. Eventually, those rides ran out because that only lasts for so long, right? You can only rely on the kindness of strangers for a certain period of time before the luck runs out. He decided to not show up to work. He chose to not communicate because he was most likely embarrassed that he couldn't afford to fix his car. And so, you've got this employer at my party who's a friend complaining about my member who did everything he could to get to work. So I quietly slid my phone to him. But nonetheless, he's talking about how expensive it was to rehire. And it was very obvious that he did not have a $10,000 hiring problem, Jim. He had a $400 tire problem. That's a lot. That's a big difference, right? And so not only that, he had an employee that really wanted to show up to work and he just couldn't get there. Who doesn't want an employee that wants to show up, right?
Yeah.
So eventually Helplink kind of evolved, and Dan and all of his genius made it work in a way that companies can kind of reallocate their corporate giving dollars, at least some of them that they're donating to nonprofits already, and reallocate them in a way that they're still going to these nonprofits, but first they're meeting the needs of their own staff.
Love it.
So they can donate to, Spark in the Dark is my nonprofit as an example. They could still donate to Spark in the Dark, but before donating to Susan, whom they don't know, they can donate to Fred, who works on their factory floor.
Sure. That's awesome.
Kind of the overview there.
So we do a whole section on like success stories, case studies on this show. What are some success stories you have with Helplink so far?
Yeah, we've actually already seen about $20,000 go through the system and impact hundreds of lives, which has been really cool. And again, it's without us even making a call for it, has been primarily work-related needs, gas cards and car repair and, time off of work for medical things. So it's actually been really interesting to see how those needs are already naturally bubbling up. In terms of company success stories, we've had one of my favorites actually is a need that never went through. How funny is that? I know, plot twist. We actually had a company who signed up for us reach out because they had an employee who had a car that was going to get repoed. It was a $400 car payment. So we worked with the employee. The employee went to post this need. And in the final hour, right before this company's donation was set to go meet this need, they withdrew the need, which seems like an unusual plan because, your company was about to pay your car payment for you. What happened? And they reached out and they're like, hey, listen, we are so thankful that our company was willing to do this for us, that our employer was willing to do this for us. We managed to scrape up the money to do it ourselves.
Wow.
Which, it's funny because, it would have all went through fine and they would have paid the car payment. Everyone would have been happy. But how cool that an employee was so appreciative that they actually were honest enough to take it back when they didn't need it. So to me, I know it's kind of weird because they didn't meet the need, but that's been my favorite kind of story so far of company, employer, employee kind of relationships and giving.
All right. So we've heard what you guys do. We've heard some of the success stories behind it. Dan, did you have anything to add on the success story side? From the technical point of view, is there any success story that you want to talk about?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that it's kind of a double-edged sword with what we have going on here because what we've built is really unique in this space. When you think about charitable giving, the vast majority of it is let's give to this organization and then we're just going to trust the organization to do good things with that. But a lot of times we don't ever see that come to fruition, right? We don't get feedback on what happened to those donations. And, that's not to say that the nonprofits aren't spending them well. Like nonprofits do amazing things with that money. And I think that that's awesome. I think that we're trying to reach a segment of the population that wants to do that more and actually get some good feedback on how it's being used. And that's originally the concept that I kind of brought to Abby before we started building this whole thing. And now that we're focusing on corporate giving, being able to take some of those same donations, support those same nonprofits, and then still help your own workforce in addition to broader community needs. It's just the whole package now. And so I'm excited to show you how it works.
Yeah, I am too. I've got a couple of like follow-up questions before we dive into the demo here. So can individuals, like, could I go on there? Because one of the problems that we have, right, is sometimes we donate to organizations that have a local presence, but also are national scale. So we don't feel like we're impacting our local community as much as we possibly could be unless we find and do research on something that's hyper local to our community. Is there a way for individuals to go on to helplink.org and donate based on our geography, like put in my zip code and say, hey, I want this to help machinists in need in 85032?
Yeah. So we do it based on zip code, just like you said. It's by 3-digit zip code region. So
Okay.
The first 3 digits of your zip code is the region that is most local to you.
Okay.
And if you choose to apply your donation within that region, then that's where it'll go first.
Okay.
The other thing we do is we default it to local region if it doesn't meet your initial preferences. So if you go and make a donation and say, hey, I want these specific things and these specific recipients, because you can get pretty granular, and we'll show you how that works. But
Okay.
If it doesn't initially match with that, then it will start locally before expanding outward.
Very cool. Very cool.
And Jim, you can even dive deeper than that. I mean, if you're passionate about helping veterans or removing barriers, just as an individual, not as a company, you can go up as Jim Mayer, not as a company, and set up a pledge that says, hey, I want to donate $100 a month to direct needs for veterans and single moms in my area.
That's
you
really
can
cool.
really hone in, or you can pay it forward, which is, goes to the oldest need in the system and could go to Florida or to Michigan or to,
Wow.
California. There's so many cool ways for you to really make that giving personal.
Yeah.
Giving, ironically, has become a little impersonal.
Yeah, it really has.
You write a
And
check
that's
and it goes somewhere and you get a flyer at the end of the year. We definitely are not that. We
right.
are very much making it count and
I
showing you
love
how.
it. I love it. So who are your ideal contributors, your ideal donors for this, right? Is it individuals like me and my family? Is it companies like the Manufacturing Connector? Is it larger organizations that have more employees than just one? What is the ideal donor for Helplink?
I would say that the kind of the ideal, and it can really vary.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're seeing a lot of success in manufacturing companies in particular because they do have a lot of employees, and they have a lot of employees who are entry level or kind of on the lower income scale in the grand scheme, at least. I would say, and I got asked this yesterday too, I would say really once you start to hit that employee point where you want to care about your staff, but there's so many people that it becomes difficult to keep track of them all.
Yeah.
Right. So really that we're finding that 100 marker is a really good indicator where it's like, we want to have company culture. We want to show our staff that we care and we want them here. But also HR doesn't have the bandwidth to talk to every person that has an issue, right?
Sure.
So this is such a cool way to really build company culture for companies, over 100 employees, manufacturing, hospitality, food service. We've been talking a lot about,
Great.
but again, we're looking more at like wage and income.
Yeah.
Dan, do you have anything to add to that, do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit it right on the head. The way we've chosen to build it so far has really been the company approach where companies can do corporate pledges, they can match their employees, they can even match their customers, but it's all prioritizing their own staff first in order to reduce absenteeism. increase productivity at work, make it so that people can show up to work and focus on work without thinking about that unpaid bill or the fact that they, have a repair that they need to make or clothes that they need to buy and they just can't afford it. Don't let them stay home because of a $120 purchase,
Yeah.
or don't let them quit because they're embarrassed to tell you about a $400 repair that they can't make. It's much cheaper to just do it, to just cover that. And so that's really what we're focusing on. Obviously, eventually we could get to the point where it's, hey, Helplink is a nationally known brand, and you can do a monthly pledge for your family or as an individual of $25, and we can get millions upon millions of pledges in and help people in your local community. We can support all of that with the product we have, but the way we're doing it now is we really want to get companies to work together with nonprofits to serve those individual needs. It's just bringing it all together.
Yeah. Awesome. What about the requesters, the people who have a need? What does that profile look like? If there's anybody who's listening right now, and anymore, cell phones are the lowest costing need that we all have, right? It's lower cost to have a cell phone than it is to fill up my car, or buy groceries, or to pay my mortgage or any of that stuff. So a lot of people have cell phones and are able to listen to things like this or watch it on YouTube, but not everybody has the ability to pay for those basic daily needs, right? So what kind of person is the ideal recipient of these requests or these needs?
Oh man, Jim. I think most of America, if you look at the statistics, frankly, I think the most recent statistic is that 78% of Americans at this point are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And of that 78%, they could not afford a $400 emergency. If a $400 emergency came up, they wouldn't be able to make that happen. So I'm not sure there's really a profile type for someone in need, because I think most of us have been in need at some point in our life. And we invite you to not feel ashamed of that, right? We all need community. We all need help sometimes. That is a part of the human experience. We do have, some parameters around what you're able to ask for. We're very focused on things like past due bills, mortgage payments, work clothes, diapers, right? Essential need items. You're not going to be able to hop on and ask for a flat screen television or Christmas lights.
Right.
We're probably not going to be doing that. We also don't send out any kind of money. So we're not like a GoFundMe, for example, where we're sending out a check. We are sending out physical items or meeting, bills by paying the bill. So it's all goods and services. So just kind of know that going into it, if you are requesting help, that we will be paying the exact amount of your electric bill, or we will be shipping you a pair of steel-toed boots. We're not going to send you a check for those things.
I love it. And that's such an important distinguishing factor to me, at least. Dan, you ready to do a demo?
When you go on to Helplink, right away you'll see the listing of needs, and this is a filterable list. You can do it based on location, locality, like you were talking about. You can switch and enter a new zip code, just like you were saying, Jim. You can, filter by categories. You got all sorts of different categories here. The reason for the need, whether you've had a house fire, you're experiencing housing insecurity, work barriers, etc., or also by price. So you can really filter this down. And also, every company that signs up and every nonprofit that signs up has their own unique URL, their own web link that people can visit to view their needs and the needs that they're associated with. And so it's pretty simple. As an employee, for example, you can just go visit the link from your employer, sign up. It's just a simple, phone, email address. We do it by mobile phone number because most people tend to only have one of those, and we want to guard against duplicate accounts. We've got a number of safeguards in the software to guard against abuse and things like that. And when you go to post a need, let's go over here. maybe. Actually, let's show you how to do the pledge first, and then we'll go into posting a need. So as a company, we're encouraging companies to get involved with a monthly pledge on a corporate level. So they're saying, hey, we normally donate, $2,500 a month to charity. Let's take 500 of that or 1,000 of that, and let's create a pledge in Helplink, which is going to go through nonprofits as charitable donations, and then come back and meet our own employees' needs first. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that. We're just going to select monthly pledge, choose the date that our card wants to be charged. We can also have it charged today, or it'll start in the next month. And then we go in and we can donate anonymously if we want to. We can hide our name. And it's important to note that anyone can go on here and make a pledge. So this is the same process that the company's employees would be using to make pledges, or to even do one-time donations. And then anyone in the community as well. We've got a number of companies that match their customers. For example, radio stations might say, hey, for the next hour, anybody using this link will go and match you $5. Or a grocery store has a QR code at checkout that you can scan, and they'll match your donations. We've got companies getting involved that way. So you pick the amount that you want to donate. If you're a company, we always recommend a minimum of $500 to get started, just as a monthly pledge basis. What this will do is it will more than cover at least one of your employees' needs, and then it'll roll over and meet other employees' needs. And you've got a number of ways that you can customize that. So as we hit continue here, here's where you can decide where it should apply. You can apply it anywhere. You can apply it within your state, within your locality, and then also within your organization. So this is where you would choose, hey, I'm going to prioritize my own company first so that it meets the employees' needs of that company. And then you can also add additional organizations to this list. So let's say, 1 month your donation went out and it met your employees' needs and there was extra left over. It would keep on going down this preferred organization list and meeting needs for the organizations that you care about. So a lot of our companies set it up with the within my organizations designator here, right here. So you have a preferred organization list. You can do your own organization first, or the organizations that you care about first. And then if it goes through all of those organizations and then there's still money left over, it starts in your local area and moves out from there. So It's your organization and then your broader community next.
Wow, that's awesome.
The next step is to choose the specific types of needs and recipients that you want to cover. And a lot of people just say, hey, it's good enough that I'm meeting it within my own organization. I don't really want to, drill down any further than that. But we do allow you to choose the types of needs that you're meeting. So if you say, hey, I only want to meet bills, I'm just going to select all the different bill categories here, right? You can do that. If you say, hey, I only want to help minorities or single parents or veterans, you can do that. And then also you can do the need reasons. So say, hey, we are an addiction treatment center. We only want to do needs for addiction recovery, that kind of thing. So again, this isn't just for manufacturing companies. It could be for any type of organization. If it's a veterans association, maybe they only want to meet needs for veterans, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
So after you've picked these, or just kind of let it ride, then the next step is to choose whether you want the donation to be capped for each recipient. So you can say, hey, I'm a manufacturing company. I've got 100 employees, and I want to make it so that each employee, I let them know this is a benefit to them. They can get up to $100 for their need. And so you can put in a maximum of $100 per recipient for the need. So what this does is it spreads out the donation to multiple different people, right? But it may not fully meet a single need. And so if you want it to instead kind of snowball, you would just select no. And then that $500 donation would all of it would go towards the first need, the highest ranked need, and we'll get into ranking in just a second. And then it'll roll over and meet the other needs after that.
That's awesome. I love it.
The next step is a pay it forward suggestion. And so we always recommend adding a couple bucks to your donation to pay it forward to the longest standing published need in the system. And so this is literally our oldest published need that is not expired. And so your initial $500 donation could meet your own employees' needs. It could snowball and waterfall down into your community. And then this extra couple bucks could go to somebody in Arizona, or it could go to somebody's need in Washington, or completely random. It's just our way of helping make sure that no need expires unmet. So we kind of backfill it from the back too.
And Jim, we've actually had multiple needs met just through Pay It Forward dollars. Like,
really?
I mean, full needs have gone out and been met, like a stroller, for example. That was all $2 Pay It Forwards from people over the course of a month. Like, so
that's
that
awesome.
little teeny bit of everybody working together creates really cool impact.
Yeah, and as this continues to grow and we go national, I mean, this Pay It Forward money is going to meet needs all day long, just with $2 here and there. And there could be 100 different people that all put $2 towards a need with this Pay It Forward money. That was kind of the idea, is so that the older ones that have been sitting out there for a while, they still get met too.
That's so cool, guys. I'm rarely speechless, but I'm pretty speechless like right now. This is awesome.
Well, it's almost over. It's just selecting the payment method, selecting whether you want to cover the processing fees. We do charge processing fees for the credit card charges. And then you can either round up or add $1 for your most preferred nonprofit. So in addition to the companies that you put in this list, you can also put nonprofit organizations in that list. And the highest one on the list will be the one that you choose to round up for or otherwise prioritize with your donations.
Can people select Helplink as a nonprofit to round up for?
No, we have partner nonprofits, but Helplink itself is a social enterprise. So we're officially an L3C, which means we are a for-profit company, but we are legally required to prioritize mission over money.
I love it.
And so we chose that designation instead of being a nonprofit. As I said before, I actually started this as a nonprofit and we converted it to this because we wanted to make sure that the nonprofits we partner with actually can report these as donations to them, not to us. We don't care about saying, hey, we took in this much in donations because Helplink's awesome. Like, we want to be able to say, hey, you're donating to the nonprofits you care about. We're just the intermediary. We're just, the fulfillment service.
Sure. I love it.
So after you finish your pledge, we'll hook that up. There's this fun whose line is it anyway system where the points don't matter called high fives. And we do use those.
That's an
though,
obscure
as like
reference, man, that a lot of younger people will not get, but I loved it. Thank you.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, you're right. I guess I am getting old. But it's basically a way to rank the donations from everybody in the system. And we put together a top 10 list on our homepage, and you can make it into the tops. And it's just a kind of a fun way to compare without actually talking about real dollars. This is just kind of fun money.
I love it.
So your pledge is set up. This enables your company to have full access to the Helplink platform now. So the only thing that we ask as a company gets started is that you make a monthly pledge. It doesn't have to be $500. We recommend at least that amount, but you have to have a pledge in place in order to access all of the features of Helplink. And the biggest one is called the donor dashboard. And so this is something that you can set up on a live basis. You can set up for different time periods, and it'll show you the donations you're making, the needs you've met, the total impact that those needs have had. This is a household size number for each of these needs. And then we also collect all of the information for the needs. So you can see, I've met a bunch of utility bills, a lot of clothing bills, a lot of people with kids, single parents, and people experiencing medical emergencies, housing insecurity, house fire even, and then also the nonprofits that you're donating to. And so this is kind of a at-a-glance picture that a lot of companies like to throw up on a screen at an employee meeting and say, hey, here's the impact we've had over this period of time. It'll tell you the pledges and the people who are participating out of your employees. And then also you can set up your donation matching here. So as we were talking about before, you can match both employees and you can match customers with this system. And so, as you graciously offered, Jim, you would go in here and say, okay, I want to match others. I want to match $50 per person. And then you can set your own maximum monthly budget for that. So
awesome.
It'll be $50 per person up until you're broke. right?
Yep.
Sounds
about right.
And then you can choose how many times per month you want your credit card to be charged for those matching donations. And you can choose up to 4 times per month. So that's how you do it for customers. And then also for employees, you can do the exact same thing.
Great. I love it. So I would set up listeners as teammates or others in this instance.
Yeah, listeners would just be others. So they'd be anybody with the link, right?
Okay.
And so you would provide the link, and then they can use that link. And when they make a donation, you're going to automatically match them. And the nice thing is that your matching donation in that case, it will try to match as specifically as what they donate to. So If they go in and they say, hey, I'm actually going to go to this need list. I'm going to pick one of these needs, and I'm going to donate specifically to this adult clothing need for Trent. You can go, your donation match will attempt to go specifically to this need with them.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're only getting your credit card charged every so often, then this need might be met by the time that goes through, in which case it'll go to another clothing need in as close a match as it can find to this need.
Awesome.
So it tries to match it as specifically as possible. Okay. Let's see. We went through matching. We went through pledging. Let's go through posting a need. So let's say I'm an employee.
Do you want to run through impact reports?
Sorry, what'd you say, Abby?
So do you want to run through like the impact report, like the
yeah.
company?
Great idea. So in addition to the live board here, and you can also see your individual giving as a company, you also get downloadable reports that look like this. And you can set these up on an automated basis. They're PDF. They can come to you monthly, they can come to you quarterly, they can come to you annually, or all of the above. And it's just a quick email with a download link to get this type of report. It'll tell you the community impact that you're having, the nonprofits you're serving, the financial impact, all of the specifics that are in that donor dashboard as well. And then also a company snapshot of what's happening as of the end of the period that you reported on. So it gives you a great way to highlight what's happening within your company and within your community.
Wow. Okay. I love it.
As far as the official stuff goes, these are donations through nonprofits, so they are donations to charity. And we, on behalf of the charities that we partner with, Helplink will send you both receipts for all of your donations, as well as combined statements of giving. So, for example, here's one that has 2 different nonprofits listed. And as you can imagine, if you're donating a lot and you're meeting a lot of needs, this statement of giving could end up being several pages long, and it'll give you a breakdown of all of the nonprofits that you're donating to for a specific period of time. Wow. These statements of giving are automatically sent to you every year, but you can have them also sent to you on whatever time period you want.
That's amazing.
We also try to highlight the companies that are... Sorry, go ahead, Abby.
No, you're okay. So the tax accountant likes it, Jim.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, when you're trying to put together your statements of giving and suddenly down to a penny, what you donated to a nonprofit is.
Yes.
And just the savings on time spend for HR for this and accountants for this particular thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a good point. We also try to highlight your company wherever we can. So in addition to, putting you on our website and putting your logo and getting it out there, we also share in the email that we send to the recipients when their needs are met, we share your company logo there too. So you can see in the middle here, your need was met with the help of the following companies. And we've got this demo company logo. So we try and list those out to say, hey, companies are involved. And it may be more than one company in that list too. Let's say a rollover gift or a pay it forward gift from a totally different company went to meet that need. It's a collaborative effort, and we're going to try and highlight you wherever we can.
Wow. Holy cow.
We also provide a media kit that you can download as your company, where we customize all of these documents, PDFs, presentation slides, flyers. Here's an example of the flyer that we just put together, where we'll put a QR code on there for you, and we'll put a URL at the bottom that says, hey, here is the unique link. So after you create your unique link, Jim, you can download this, and it'll have a bunch of stuff, bunch of PDFs, bunch of media that you can share and say, hey,
awesome.
Here is, the stuff that you need in order to get involved with my organization. So here's a flyer. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can put it on my newsletter. I can put it in blogs. I can put it on the website. I can put it all over the place. Uh, I may not be able to do 500 myself, but if I can get 10 companies to donate $50 a month, then I'm at 500. That we're on our way to making some impact here, right?
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
what's cool is nonprofits also get this, Jim.
Yeah,
They get a QR code as well that those folks that they are serving can scan to upload their, to create their need through it so that it's
perfect.
automatically sponsored by that nonprofit. And then
Hmm.
companies can choose that preferred organization.
Awesome.
So this is a great example for nonprofits too. Their media kit, of course, looks a little bit different than in
Sure.
some ways. But
Well,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
I can put
obviously,
it
this
up.
is the stuff that companies would be receiving. We have
Yeah.
other things for nonprofits and as well as some religious items for churches too.
Sure. Well, and then I can put it on this website, right? Hey,
yep.
apply for this. But also, if you've got other unmet needs, basic living needs, here's a way for you to take advantage of some of the giving from our local community that can also help you, right? And I think that's amazing.
Not to digress too far and get us into the weeds, but I can't help myself. But what's cool about that too is if suddenly Skill Up notices that 75, 80, 100 people are asking for steel-toed work boots, that gives them some really solid data to write a grant or to create a program, right? And
Yeah.
to really understand the needs and have the numbers to back it up, which is a huge struggle for a lot of nonprofits is having those numbers and having that data to say, no, 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 we know it's not based on instinct. It's not based on what we see. Here's the numbers. Here's the facts. Here's the
Yeah.
money we've spent. So
Yeah.
there's some really cool opportunities, I think, for those organizations as well.
Yeah. It's not just a gut feeling. It's data backed decisions. I love it.
Yeah, that's a
Sorry,
good point.
Dan.
I mean,
Continue.
no, it's good that she made that point. I mean, the nonprofits do like the fact that it is very granular and that they can use it to potentially get grants themselves too. They can prove the impact they're having. All right, where was I? Oh, let's go through posting a need. We'll do it here. Okay. So let's pretend I'm an employee of this demo company, and I go on, I create my account. Right when you create your account, if you use your employer's link, there's a little checkbox that says, "Hey, I work here." So you're
Okay.
automatically connected to your employer. You can also go into your account and add them, and there's a lot of functionality there. But we make it as easy as possible to get started. We even send an email template to the company when it signs up saying, hey, just forward this to your employees. And then
Mm-hmm.
they have a special link that they can go to. It explains what's going on, explains that you're partnered. There's even a video they can watch if they want to, and then they can sign up. Super easy.
Awesome.
So once you're signed up, you can go to Post a Need here. And we have a product database that we've developed. So again, this is not like GoFundMe. I'm not just like free form text asking for whatever I want and then you pay me money.
Right.
We have specific products and services that we offer. So if I start typing bill in here, you can see the types of bills that we cover, right? If I start typing, work clothes, for example, there are the types of work clothes that we cover. So specifically, we've got a lot of people asking for work clothes. We've got a lot of people asking for bills being paid, and then also gas cards. So here's gas cards, and then here's my gas bill, for example. If you do choose bill, we collect the information for your creditor and for your account. And if the bill amount that you select here it ends up being more than what's actually due, we only pay what's actually due. So
Okay.
it's not like there's just a bunch of extra money floating around. If there is extra in any one of these scenarios, then the money rolls over and meets other needs. So again, it's not like we just keep cash or we pay cash to anybody. It all goes into meeting needs.
Got it. I love it.
Okay, so let's pretend I'm going to ask for some boots, and we'll do some men's steel-toed boots. There's some additional information, like checking what size you want, because again, you're not going to actually receive cash to go buy boots yourself. You're going to receive these boots in this size. Helplink fulfills the need for you. So I'm going to pick some boots, and then we collect the demographic information for everybody posting. And the reason is not because we share it with anybody, but because on the back end, we want to match you with the nonprofits that are going to align with their mission to sponsor your need. So
Sure.
if I'm a veteran, this could be sponsored by a veterans association, that kind of thing.
So where did the boots then come from? Or are you going to answer that down the road?
Oh, yeah. Well, we can answer it now. I mean, Helplink fulfills all the needs. And so we work with suppliers on the back end to purchase the boots and ship them to the recipient. If the nonprofit that sponsors the need chooses, they can do the last mile delivery too. So we can ship the boots to them, and then they can, get in touch with the recipient. But most people, they just choose to ship right to the recipient. And so we are pretty flexible on that end, where we can source those boots and we can ship them to the recipient ourselves.
So do you have partners on the distribution, the work clothes, that side of things? I mean, if it's a tangible product, do you have partners on that side? And if so, if somebody's listening and they're an industrial supply company and they say, I want to help support this mission, I can't do the monthly donation, but I would love to help with discounted work boots or discounted scrubs or work clothes or jackets, safety equipment, et cetera, hand tools, whatever it may be. Are you guys taking partners in that aspect as well?
Yeah, we're definitely, as we continue to build this out, we're going to be making those partnerships for the majority of the products in our catalog. Obviously, we don't prefer to go on Amazon and ship you some boots. We would much prefer to have a dedicated partner for that. And we already have made some of those partnerships with certain products, such as grocery delivery. Instead of just giving you a Walmart gift card, we want to make sure that somebody's going to show up and get you the groceries that you need. And there's been a lot of other companies that have had platforms that are similar where, hey, let's send you to them, let you pay for your goods through them, and then they can ship to you or they can deliver to you. And so those types of partnerships we're always looking for sure.
There's something we don't necessarily talk about often, but from, again, the nonprofit side of things, the ability to ship somebody directly an item who maybe doesn't have a vehicle or has to take the bus or works 2 jobs or has 4 kids. You want to talk about a blessing, right? I need groceries and I don't got to go get them. They show up on my doorstep. Again, there's a time spend factor here, but it is, again, a huge struggle for nonprofits in general. It's like, hey, we can't always come into the nonprofit and pick up the need or explain what we need, right? So that's a really big asset as well that I think kind of makes us unique in that space for nonprofits specifically.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
That's why you keep me around, Dan.
All right, where were you here? Oh, talking about demographics. Okay. So we also collect how large the person's household is, because we know that whenever somebody receives a need, it's really everybody in their household that is impacted directly. And so that is kind of what gives us that broader impact number. We also collect their address so that we can ship them those goods Abby was just talking about. And then we collect the reason for the need. And again, this is kind of to match the donors with the people in need. So if I've experienced a house fire and somebody is really passionate about donating to people who've had a house fire, especially for natural disasters, we've had the hurricanes recently. This could be a huge, easy way to match that money with the people in need from, Hurricane Milton or Helene. Okay, last step is to add a public message. So this is kind of where the recipient can tell their story. And this is what's going to be published with the need on the site. And so I'm just going to do that really fast here. I really need some work boots. Great. Okay. So when you submit the post, our software takes that post, it moderates your content, and then it sends it out to the nonprofits in our system so that they can say, hey, we like this need, we want to sponsor it, or no, we don't like that need. And that all happens automatically based on their settings. So again, they can go in to Helplink, create their account, and say, okay, we want to sponsor needs for single parents. We're a single parents focused nonprofit that aligns with our mission. And then, this meets that need and it automatically sponsors. Once it's sponsored in the system, it gets published and then it can accept donations. So that pledge that your company and your employees are making and all those matches that you're doing can go and meet and match with this need that was just posted.
And Spark in the Dark has committed to pick up any need that goes unmatched to ensure that everybody that asks for help gets help in their time of need. So we have that as kind of a backup just in case.
That's fantastic, Abby.
So once it gets published, it goes to a list that looks like this. And this is kind of the default page when you pull it up on your phone or whether you pull it up on the web. And these needs are ranked by an algorithm that we created to try and prevent abuse of the system. So for specific needs, there are limitations on how often you can post them. For example, you can only get your mortgage paid once a year. You can only ask for so many of certain types of needs. You can only have certain amounts of needs posted at one time or per month or per year. And so there are limitations. And then if you've had several needs met in the past, the needs that you post will be lower ranked than those who are posting for the first time. And so it kind of allows us to programmatically say, hey, these are the needs that should get met first based on, who has been posting and actually receiving needs met.
Wow. And so I'm on your homepage right now, the helplink.org homepage. So that kind of scrolling area, those are basically the highest identified needs. Is that what I would understand?
Yeah, the ones that show up on the homepage are usually kind of a random set of the highest priority needs in the system right now.
Got it. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's pretty much front and back of it. Again, creating an organization, and you can have multiple organizations, just like you were talking about, Jim. You can switch between your accounts, by going up here, switching accounts. And you can use it as an individual, or you can use it as a representative of your organization.
Dan forgot my favorite part, Jim.
Oh my gosh.
Dan.
Okay, so I didn't forget, I promise. I may have forgotten a little bit. So
the best part.
This thanks page kind of brings it full circle. So this is how we make sure that all the needs actually come to completion without it just being a nebulous gift. So we've got all thanks here. These are the thank you posts that people post when their need is met and they've received their item. And so you can see over here on the right, let's see, it looks like that was some winter clothing. Looks like kids' shoes was met. Looks like we got some school supplies, a gas card, a bill that was paid. So you can scroll through these, see them. You can click on them and see who donated to each one. And you can also view it filtered by the ones that you specifically donated to, either as an organization or as an individual. So I'm logged into my company right now, and you can see these are all the ones that I specifically donated toward, or they were ones that my donations matched with. Somebody received a wheelchair over here, etc.
And what's so cool about that, Jim, is when somebody receives their item, right, the need shows up or the work boots show up on their porch or the bill gets paid, they're then invited to create this thank you post with an image. And then that thank you post is texted out to every single person who donated so that they get a link right on their phone and they click it. And there's this thank you from the exact person that they donated to.
Wow.
Which makes my heart real happy.
So the companies will get emails and individuals will get texts for every thank you that is posted, and individuals cannot post another need until they post a thank you for the one that was met. So really encouraging them to complete the circle.
Yeah. And so I could see companies then taking that My Thanks page and putting that in a weekly newsletter, putting that in a Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram post, maybe anonymize who it was to if it's going out like that, but still being able to publish that, engagement side, that culture of giving side, goes a long way when it's led from the top.
Ain't that
Yeah,
the truth?
that's a great point. And you're right. This page was designed really so that you can screenshot it and show it off, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how it works because you feel like, you know, not to bash just writing general checks, but isn't it interesting how you can automate a donation, right? You can automate a pledge and giving, and yet it still feels so personal at the end, right? Like
Yeah.
it was really our goal to make this personal. We
Wow.
want you to know who you're helping. We want you to know what needs are getting met with your very hard earned money as a company and as a person, right?
Yeah.
And this really allows you the inside view of both the appreciation but the need itself when it's asked for.
That's awesome. So what kind of nonprofits are you looking for? Are these 501c3s, C6s? What type of nonprofits do you partner with?
Primarily, we've been working with 501c3s, public charities, but also we have a number of government organizations that have expressed interest in using this too. So we're working with, here in Michigan, we're working with Michigan Works and a lot of affiliate organizations like that, who really care about workforce support and development. And we've been seeing some pretty good traction with those companies too.
How can people get involved, guys? How can they get either on the side of, hey, we want to help, or hey, I need help? How do people get involved here?
I think really the best thing to do, if you feel really confident after the demo and you feel like, hey, I can set this up all by myself, you can actually do that through the website, through helplink.org /businesses/nonprofits, whichever applies to you. But I'm also always, as you can imagine, super excited to meet new people and have a conversation. So I'm happy to provide my I know, I'm happy to provide my email. Even if it's just, hey, we don't understand, or hey, will this work for us? The software is kind of consistently evolving and doing new things as we experience, new issues for companies. So we're super excited to talk, or you can set it up on your own as well.
Awesome. And Dan, as this serial tech entrepreneur, if somebody saw what you did with this and say, damn, I've got a great idea and I want help creating some sort of a platform, non-competing, of course, how can they reach out to you?
Well, you can reach me at dan@helplink.org.
Okay.
And that's an interesting question that you brought up, because I am really focused on getting involved in the community, especially the startup community and people who want to be entrepreneurs. And I've got a lot of software entrepreneurial experience. So I've had a number of successful companies over the past decade, and I'd be happy to have a conversation and maybe point you in the right direction.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you both for being on. Appreciate this. It was an amazing, really great software that you guys have built. Amazing, great program that you have. And I can't wait to follow along and watch it as it grows and really takes off like I hope it does across the country and into other countries, because there's a lot of countries out there that experience these basic needs shortages as well. So kudos to both of you for putting people above profit. I really appreciate that about both of you guys.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. Folks, that was maybe the most heartwarming episode we've had of the Manufacturing Connector with Abby and Dan from Helplink. We explored how that platform of theirs really connects the businesses, the nonprofits, the individuals to meet real needs that humans have and create those lasting impacts in communities that we live in and we may drive through or drive past and not know how to help. This is the way that you can help. If you want to learn more about how Helplink can support your organization's corporate giving or help you streamline nonprofit operations, go to their website. It's a massive resource, and I'm learning new stuff every time I go on it. You'll find all the tools and resources you need to get started making that difference that you want to create your culture of giving in. Before you go, make sure to like this episode, subscribe to Manufacturing Connector, and hit the bell icon so that you never miss out on future episodes, which are always filled with the solutions that are changing industries and communities alike. If you have any questions or thoughts on today's episode, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you think or what you think about giving back through your business. I've got plenty more insightful episodes coming your way, so stay tuned for more innovative solutions driving the future of manufacturing and beyond. Thanks for watching the Manufacturing Connector. See you next time.